from tariffs and other things. I mean, I hope we can. I don't want to give a date because then these people are going to say, "Oh, well, he didn't make the date." But I think we can do it very quickly. We would have never done it if this didn't happen. Never. It would have never been. It would only get worse and worse, and ultimately, it would have exploded. This country was headed down a very bad track, and the whole DEI thing. That was a trap. That was a sick trap. And you know, we've destroyed that. That's gone. That's pretty much gone.
I agree. We're not funding it.
I really want to emphasize to people that this is a very important point. If we don't solve the deficit, there won't be money for medical care. There won't be money for Social Security. We either solve the deficit, or all we'll be doing is paying debt. It's got to be solved, or there's no medical care, there's no Social Security, there's no nothing. It's got to be solved. It's not optional. America will go bankrupt if this is not done. That's why I'm here.
The president of Europe takes advantage of this.
And I'd like to also just send a message to, because as the president said, there's a lot of rich people out there. They should be caring more about the country, because the reason they should be caring more about the country is if America falls, what do you think is going to happen to your business? What do you think? Do you think we're going to be okay if the ship of America sinks? Of course not. What I'm doing here, what the president's doing, is it's just long-term thinking. The ship of America must be strong. The ship of America cannot sink. If it sinks, we all sink with it.
This is what drives you. I mean,
yes.
This is important. It says tech support. So you're not trying to be president, as the media suggests. You are really here because your heart and your passion is this. And the president described you as being, this is the biggest thing you've ever done. Now you're trying to bring sight.
There could be nothing bigger.
You're sending ships up to Mars, spaceships up in the sky all the time, and sending astronauts. That's pretty big.
It's peanuts compared to
peanuts. You agree with that?
Well, it's essential that America be healthy, that America's economy be strong, and if basically, like my concern is, if America is the central pillar holding up Western civilization, that pillar must be strong. If that pillar falls, the whole roof comes crashing down.
Including
there's no place to hide.
Including his ships.
There's no place to run.
Nothing. There's nothing left.
Why, if this is your goal, your motivation, you're losing money in the process, you do all these nice things for people for free, you're trying to solve, blindness, you're going to rescue astronauts, you help the people in North Carolina, California, and you're cutting money that was sent abroad, was not helping the American people, then why
Actually, it was not helping American people and hurting people overseas.
Why this rage against you now? First they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be exposed.
I'll tell you a lesson I learned from PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, the quickest and the loudest, and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters. That's who complained first, loudest, and they would generally have this immense overreaction. That's how we knew they were the fraudsters. That's how we knew. That's to tell.
What? I've never met you before today. Yeah. And it's nice to meet you, by the way. Thank you for doing this. You guys are really friends. I could see you kicking up your shoes.
Well, he doesn't do this kind of thing. And the way I figured that you'd get to know him is if I did it with him. I said, come on, let's do it together. He doesn't do this. I think he's smarter not doing it overall because, he's done very well without doing it. But he doesn't feel it's really worthwhile. He wants the product to speak for itself, or whatever he does speak for itself, but he views it as, does it matter? And I'm doing this with you today because I wanted to have people understand him. And I think it's very important. I disagree with him, but I think it's very important that they do understand him. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need it. Now, I happen to think it's made him very popular. I think he's more popular now because there are so many people. You're talking about the radical left. They have the lowest ratings. MSNBC is dying. CNN is dying. They're all dying. The New York Times is doing lousy. The Washington Post is doing horribly. They're all doing badly because people don't buy it anymore. But I think it was important that he do this one interview. You've been a very fair guy. I think you were the right guy to do it. If we could get some radical left guy, and they'd do just as well, frankly, because It's all about common sense.
And their attack has been
this,
unconstitutional,
Sean, to me, this was
fascist.
it was important for people to understand. He's doing a big job. He's doing a very thankless job. It's really a thankless job. But he's helping us to save our country. Our country was in serious trouble. And I had to get that best guy, somebody with credibility, because if he were just a regular, good, very good, solid businessman, he wouldn't have the credibility. He's got the best credibility for this. And people also know he's an honest guy. He's an honest guy. He's just a very, very smart guy who's done amazing things. And this will be the biggest thing he's ever done. Because, you know, his companies are all great, but if this country goes bad, I guess where he is a little selfish is this. He knows one thing and probably doesn't think. But if this country goes bad, his stuff is not going to be worth very much.
Well, let's say if the ship of America sinks, we're all going down with it. You know, this idea that people can escape to New Zealand or some other place is false. If the central pillar of Western civilization, that is America, falls, the whole roof comes crashing down and there is no escape.
It's amazing, since you've been elected, to watch Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia. I was shocked at the statements that Vladimir Putin made about you. I was shocked at the hostage release. I was shocked that Venezuela had done it. Zelensky wants a deal. Putin wants a deal.
All good statements.
Interested?
You mean by that all good statements? Look, they respect the president of this country. They did not respect the last president. They laughed at him, and they laughed at our country, and he's done great damage to our country.
Have foreign leaders told you what they thought of Biden?
Yeah, they have, but I'd rather not say. They have. It's not. Look,
It's the obvious.
he was not George Washington. Let's put it that way. Not the greatest.
Sorry,
He's done a tremendous disservice. And by the way, the Democrats have done a great disservice, and they ought to get their act together and use a little judgment, and they ought to work with us on straightening out this mess that
John
a lot of people have.
Maybe. What Democrat is not radicalized?
Actually, you mentioned John.
John Fetterman.
He's become the best voice in the Democrat Party. You know, I had lunch with him, and I thought he was terrific. But he's a much different man than he was before he had this difficulty. He used to be radical left, and I think he became much smarter, actually.
Yeah.
He's really a voice of reason. But the Democrats have to get together. They have to get their act together, because the stuff they talk about makes no sense. It makes none whatsoever. And they must know it. They must know it.
Yeah, the country has spoken very clearly and rejected the core tenets of the Democratic Party. The country voted the country America has made its vote clear. The president won the popular vote decisively. The Republicans won the House. Republicans won the Senate. What more do you need? The Democratic Party needs to take a hard look in the mirror and change their ways.
I think they went from shock, denial, into the depression stage of grief, and now they're in the rage stage, where I anticipate they'll stay for 4 years, and if they get the chance, they'll want to impeach him 10 times. Do you anticipate you'll be here for 4 years? My last question.
I'll be as helpful as long as I can be helpful.
That's a good question. I mean, I was thinking about that just now. I said, I wonder how long he's going to be doing it. You can't get somebody like this. He cares, and he's brilliant, and he's got energy. You need energy also, in addition to those other things. You know, I have a lot of guys that are very smart, but they have no energy. They want to sleep all day long. You need a lot of energy. He's got a lot of energy. He's doing a great job. If there's any conflict, he will stop it. But if he didn't, I'd stop it. I'd see if there's a conflict. I mean, we're talking about big stuff. But he's under a pretty big microscope. I mean, everybody's watching him. If there's a conflict, you're going to be reading about it within about 2 minutes after the conflict.
Exactly. So there's the possibility of me getting away with something is 0%, 0.0.
Yeah.
I've scrutinized it to a ridiculous degree. And the other thing is that what's better than saying trust me? It's just full transparency. So what we're doing with the Doge, just